Spray.Bike, what is it? Well, it's a spray paint which is specially for your bike. And I was not able to find any reviews about this thing. And I do want to spray my bike. It seems that I have had to buy it in order to try it. And I will let you know what happened next. The old paint was pretty flaky, so I decided I would just try to scrub it with some sandpaper and a wire brush to try and get really the bits that I thought would actually flake off. But I didn't really spend too much time on it. And basically it's ready. I chose Humber, which I guess is based on the old British Bike brand. The recommended technique here is to spray within about 5 to 12 centimeters. Under that it will run, and outside of that range it's just a powder. It didn't take very long to spray the frame, maybe 10 minutes. And their recommendation isn't to overspray on the first pass, so I was attempting to be very frugal. You can always fix anything you miss the second pass. It dries within 10 minutes. It's cured within 2 hours. So up until this point, it seemed like everything was going to plan. The paint looked good and it was pretty easy to apply. I wasn't having any running or anything of that nature. But the next stage I had planned was to add a coat of lacquer, just hoping to give it some more durability, because everything on the site subtly suggested that it wasn't a kind of a lifetime paint job, that you would want to keep the can around to keep touching it up. So I was hoping I could kind of get away with putting on three or four coats of this lacquer to give it a real, a protective layer. But it didn't go quite to plan, as you'll see next. I decided to go out, put one coat on, let it dry overnight, so that I could put a couple more on the next day. Very quickly I discovered that the varnish came out in much greater quantities and it was much runnier. If your paint hasn't been allowed to dry, I think, for the full 2 hours, it will make it run too. So the next day I had to kind of sand down the few little bits that I could see, or the worst bits, and just touch it up. So, my thoughts on Spray.Bike and the lacquer. Spray.Bike, the basic spray paint, was great. I really liked how easy it was to use. It looked good. It didn't require a lot of preparation on the frame. And more or less, from everything I had heard and seen about it, which was very little at that point, my expectations were fulfilled, let's say. With the lacquer, clearly that's a product that actually requires a bit more skill or expertise in spraying on lacquer. Now, their website really doesn't have any guidance for when or how to use this, which is strange because they have such a complete guide on how to use the spray paint itself. So it would be nice to see a little bit more in the way of instruction on that, being that they are marketing it to people like me who haven't sprayed before but want to improve an old bike. So, would you or should you buy this? The spray paint, yes, with complete confidence, it looks nice. I think it's one of those things that probably isn't really very durable, but they give you a lot in the can. There's probably enough to do 2 bike frames in there easily. So just keep the can and touch it up. The lacquer, if you know what you're doing, yeah, go for it. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the result. It looks good to me. I mean, it got an old bike on the road again. So, in closing, Spray.Bike for a tenner, it's probably better than some shit automotive paint from Halfords.